Hello, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of caffeinated content where we talk about great business ideas over that hot cup of coffee. And today I'm at Corner Bakery in Henderson, Nevada. And if you don't know where Henderson is, I'm about 10 miles that way to the Las Vegas Strip. Okay, so now somebody finds negative content about your brand, whether it's an online review or whether somebody wrote a blog post or a video, whatever it is, someone found some negative content online about what you're doing, your brand, your company. What do you do about it? So I want to give you a few tips here, because being in the online digital world, I've helped people overcome this problem, and I've had to address this problem myself with various companies that I've worked with, good companies, ethical companies. So just because you have negative content doesn't mean that your brand is bad at all. Okay, so I want to give you some tips. Number one, don't be defensive. If you're being defensive, you're feeding right into the whole tonality of the antagonism directed towards you. You want to take the higher ground. You want to be very conservative, and you just want to be very matter of fact about how you're going to address it. So don't get upset. I know it's upsetting. Don't get defensive. And I know you want to defend it. There's nothing wrong with defending what you believe in or what you love or what you know is right. But you can still defend something without being defensive. You see the difference? So don't be defensive in tonality. All you're doing is feeding into the negativity. You want to bring the conversation up to a higher level of consciousness, to a higher level of just proactivity and positivity. So you have to lead the charge. You're going to have to set the tone and the pace in that conversation versus being sucked into the negativity of it. So that's point number one. Point number two, if you know that there's negativity about your brand, you should be prepared with some positive content that you have on hand. It's either printed, it's on a website, you've got links, maybe you've compiled a Google Doc with all this data with the links, and then preempt the strike by sending the positive content first, because look, 90% of the people are going to go online and research whatever you're talking about. Okay, so it's not like you can prevent people from going online and looking and doing their own research. So if you're prepared and you're proactive and you're sending your positive content first, now you've got the upper hand. You're first to their mind and you're with positive content. Make sure your content is factual. Make sure your content is easy to consume. It's easy to read. Because if you're sending positive, factual content that's easy to consume before they ever get to the negative content, you've owned their mental real estate first and foremost. You have first rights, right? So you want to be proactive. So if you're going to go out somewhere and you're going to do a preparation, maybe you're going to do a presentation to a bunch of people, and you know that they're going to be Googling your brand and potentially finding negative stuff, get their email addresses and send them positive content beforehand. Or in the presentation go, I would like to tell you a little story about my company, and then have that positive content, that positive press that you've garnered, put that in the presentation and really establish that you are a legitimate, ethical brand, okay? And number three, you've got to be proactive with your publicity, your PR, and your content marketing. Google refers to this moment as a zero moment of truth, meaning before they purchase or consider purchasing you, the first moment of truth, they're going to do their homework about your brand. If you're not putting out content on a routine basis, videos, white papers, getting press releases, showing up public events and making sure that that publicity is published online, networking with other influencers or bloggers or writers, vloggers, YouTube celebrities, Instagram influencers, This is why it's so important to have a positive impact with your content, because the audience is going to go online. I'll give you an example. When I go and purchase something, I go research it first. I go to YouTube. YouTube is my go-to social media when I want to do research. If I'm buying a motorcycle, boy, am I going to do a lot of research on that motorcycle. I'm going to look to other motorcyclists and professional motorcycle mechanics, and I'm going to have them do reviews, or I'm going to watch the reviews. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to like go, do I really want the Triumph T120, or do I want the Yamaha Stratoliner? So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch a lot of videos about that. But what if Yamaha or Triumph didn't take their publicity department and make sure that all the top bloggers and vloggers and video guys and influencers weren't able to have a test ride on their motorcycle? They would be a vacuum of zero, and there'd be nothing about it to evaluate. This is how people shop, right? So now you have zero influence, you have zero positive press. It doesn't mean that your company is not positive. It doesn't mean that your company or brand is not ethical. It's just that you're an influence of zero because you're not fishing where the fish are. And you've got to put out your bait. You've got to be proactive with your content. You've got to get your people pushing out their wins, their successes, their case studies, their before and afters, their realizations, whatever it is, on social media, so people can go, oh yeah, I've heard about your company. I've had some friends, I follow him on Facebook, or I follow him on Instagram, and he's got a lot of positive things to say about your company. I'm very interested in joining. This is why social media and YouTube videos are so important if you want to get a brand or a movement into the positive light of the consumers out there. It is not a small deal. It is a very important deal, because if you're not talking about you, someone else will. And what will they say? Will they say something good about you, or say something bad? Now look, there's a certain portion of the population that's just going to publish bad, negative content about you, no matter how good you are. You could come down from the heavens, from God, with the cure for cancer, and somebody is going to write negative content about you. So you can't get yourself locked up, sucked into all of that. That's just the nature of the planet that we're on. What you've got to do is be so proactive in putting out your positive content that you just drown it out with your clean water. You got toxic water in your pool? There's only one way to do it. Flush it out with clean water. That's just how it works. Okay, now if you need help on how to create positive content, content that will be found, content that will be viewed, content that will impact the human mind and emotions and the buying habits, you should reach out to me, because I've helped hundreds of brands elevate their content marketing game, how to really leverage social media to get the word out there. I would love to work with you. We will talk soon. Bye-bye.